What drew you to specifically learning Russian and being
As I
interested in
said, it
coming?
was the Cold War. I wanted to understand the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I That's why I read newspapers. I differ with to this day. I'm fascinated by people that I believe deeply are doing bad things, how they think. It fascinates me. Although my biggest study has been of goodness, because goodness is rarer than badness, in my
So you
opinion.
think there's more evil than good?
I do, yes.
And what made you come to that conclusion? Just by the people you've interacted with?
No, not at all. I almost only interact with good people. I'm very lucky.
Because that's who you attract.
Yes, that's right, and I want them in my life, and yes, that's correct.
So what
Look,
what brings you to that conclusion?
What brought God to destroy the world with the Mabul, with the flood? He looked at it, he said, wow, the world is filled with Hamas, it's filled with violence.
But that same person had the potential to be good. All
Yeah,
those
that's correct.
people.
No, we all have that potential, but it's a hell of a lot easier to be bad.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot easier to lie than to tell the truth all the time. It's a hell of a lot easier to be selfish than selfless.
Right. But in essence, it may not be evil. It may be good. It's just that it's easier to be evil.
Right, but since evil is what you do, this is an interesting area. I don't know if Chabad and I agree on this, because this is a major crusade I have been on. Yetzer Lev Hadam Ra Minurav, where God says in Genesis, the will of man's heart is towards evil from his youth. So my Chabad friends tell me that they believe that we're basically good. And I says, well, how do you reconcile that with what God says about man? I don't remember the answer because I'm not sure it's persuasive. I think Chabad believes that. They half believe it.
I'll tell you why they half believe it is because we have an animal soul and a godly soul.
Well, that's exactly right. By
Yeah.
the way, this is so precious that you said that. That's my deepest belief, and I can't prove it. And I heard it from an Orthodox rabbi once. Who is God speaking to when he says, let us make man in our image? Who's he talking to? So some say it's the traditional Jewish response has been, it's the royal we. God is just not speaking, I'm going to make man. It's a humility. Nice, I have no issue with that. Another one is he's talking to the angels. Okay, I don't buy that one particularly. The best answer I heard is he was talking to the animals. They were already in existence. And this was told by an Orthodox rabbi. But it's totally in line with what you just said. We have an animal nature and a divine nature. So God is saying, we're going to make man, you animals and me. Hashem, God, and you the animals, we're going to make this creature man who will be half animal and half divine. Our choice in life is, do we act like an animal or do we act divine?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. But that's interesting. That's what this rabbi told you who is talking to you.
Yes, and in light of that, it's your belief that we're both.
Yeah.
Well, where does it come from?
The job is for us to reveal the godly part of us.
That is, yes, right, to ourselves and
Yeah,
to others.
and to others, yeah.
Yes. Well, that's, I speak in my shul every week, and I have for many decades. So this past weekend, this past Shabbat, I talked about something I'm preoccupied with just of late. What is a great person?
I listened to that podcast that you gave.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Yeah, but our listeners didn't.
Yeah, that
so
our
we went-
listeners, and we actually brought this up. Go ahead. What we
good.
wanted to know how you define greatness.
Right. So I have 4 characteristics, and that is courage, preoccupation with the truth. God, I can't believe it. It's just so new that I have to put it into my memory bank. Don't care what others think about them. In other words, don't yearn to be loved. And God. Oh, and prepared to be an outlier. Different, march to a different drummer. Those are the 4 characteristics. And I said the Torah wants every one of us to be great. What is Mamlechet Kohanim? A Goy Kadosh, to be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And then I pointed out Techelet, the blue in the tzitzit, in the strings of what men are supposed to wear, is royal blue. In other words, you're supposed to be great like a king. The Torah wants us to be great.
Do you have anyone in mind? Do you know anyone great?
I do, actually. By the way, here's an interesting thing. I asked the shul, 150 people come each week. So I asked them, I didn't ask them to raise their hand, but I just said, I'm going to take a moment of silence. I want you to think, do you know any great people? My suspicion is almost everyone knows a great person, at least one.
And that's inspiring.
Very. Not only that, though, this is really important. People confuse fame with greatness. Most famous people are not great, and most great people are not famous. That is incredibly important for people to understand. If you touch one life and you embody those 4 things I just said, courage, don't yearn, I'll talk about the don't yearn to be loved in a moment. Courage, don't yearn to be loved, commitment to truth, and an outlier.
Are they in any hierarchical order?
No, they're not. I guess none of it is possible without courage. But I would say if you pursue truth, that makes you courageous. So you could interchange them. Truth is the most important thing there is. All evil comes from lies. The Nazis did their evil because they lied about Jews. And there are massive lies being told today, which are very, very scary. Like, sex is not binary. There are more than 2 sexes. I mean, that is a horrible lie. Don't yearn to be loved is a very important one. If you want to be good at anything, a good teacher, a good politician, a good parent, if you want to be loved by your children at all times, you will be a lousy parent.
So how would you say, instead of looking at it that way, how would you say to gain the love from your children or gain the love from the people? To speak truth or be yourself? That's
right. And let the chips fall where they may. That is exactly correct. The crisis in America today is largely parents were preoccupied with being loved, not being respected.